Hello friends, we will learn about CPU working. First is CPU. What is mean by CPU? CPU is a central processor unit. The CPU is a brain of computer. Something referred to the simply as a processor of a central processor. The CPU is where most calculation take place in terms of a computing power. The computer is the most important element of a computer system. Means that is the most important of a part of a CPU and computer system. And second is there are three types of frequencies wave measuring, and first is hertz, and second is megahertz, and third is gigahertz. Hertz, commonly used abbreviated as a hertz, equal 1 cycle per second, measuring the wave of frequencies of electric charges each second. The hertz is commonly used of measuring a computer monitor, refresh rate and computer processor. And second is megahertz. 1 megahertz represented 1 million cycle per second. And third is gigahertz. 1000 million presented at a per second is called gigahertz. And third is processor. There are two types of processor, Q and A. Q, who is the largest manufacturer of a CPUs for Windows PCs. What is their largest desktop chip line? Second is Intel, 83% market share with the Platinum 4. In CPU, there are two types of slot and two types of circuit. First is slot 1 and slot A, and socket 7 and socket 478. CPU socket is a connector that interface between the computer, motherboard and processor itself. Most CPU socket and processor is used today are built around the pin grip array. There are two types of architecture. First is PGA, means pin grip array, and second is GIF, means zero intersection force slot. Best processor are created, shaped and fixed into a slot that look similar to extension slot. Second is journal. Its journal slot is used to that processor and motherboard, a computer are able to communicate with each other, and it depended on the processor on the type of socket or slot that it might use. Socket 7. Socket 7 is a physically and electronic specification for x86 processor socket matching the pin on the Pentium microprocessor manufactured by Intel, and their compatible were made by Celeris, AMD and other any CPU chip conforming to the specification can be plugged into any conforming motherboard. Socket 7 CPU interface were originally developed by Intel in 1995. Socket 7 became the popular interface among manufacturing with the push and standardized interface in the mid-90s. Second is slot. Slot 1 to prefer physically and technical specification for the connector used by some of Intel's microprocessors including the Celeron, Pentium 2 and Pentium 3. Around 1998 interface include their Pentium 2 CPU, and slot 1 has been replaced with newer interface from Factor and is not is common use anymore. And second is slot A. Slot A for specification for edges connector used by earlier version of AMD Athlon processor. Slot provide a lot higher bus rate than socket 7 does. In 1990, Intel compatible AMD designed a similar interface to slot 1 known as slot A. Like slot A and slot 1 has been had sorted live as manufacturing shipped back and socket 478. Socket 478, a type of CPU socket used for Intel Pentium 4 and Celeron series, so they are starting to disappear due to launch of LGA 775. Like the name implies, it has 478 pins. Socket 7 on the other hand has only 321 pins. We have a pictures of slot and socket. First one is the socket socket 7, second is a slot A, third is a slot 1. There are Q matches of pictures to the socket slot type. First one is a socket 7 and second is a slot 1 and third one is a slot 1. Next is a dual processor. Dual processor of computer that contain two CPUs. Dual processor system have a two independent CPU chip and differ from the dual core system, which has a two processor built into a same CPU chip. Not all operating system or program, for example, are able to support a dual processor. Example for Word. Next is quad processor. A quad processor system is any system with a 4 CPUs working in parallel. Typically, all 4 CPUs are the same type. Quad processor system are uncommon for home. And next is dual and quad processor. QNA. In a dual processor system with an optimized software, that what kind of system performance increasing are you like to see? 75% and 100% and 125%. In A processor, you will never achieve perfect performance in 75% and 100% because there are some overhead involved in the communication between processors. Next is GPU. It is a dedicated graphical depiction device for a PC or games station. Modern GPUs are efficient and manipulation and displaying computer graphics, and their parallel structure make them more